Hello, my name is Morris Adams, your host for Empowering Voices. I want to welcome you, our listeners, and I want to thank you for coming on our journey to empowerment, where my goal is to empower you. Empowering Voices is a special program where we bring what's going on in your neighborhood into your living room. And today we have two wonderful people on our program. Their efforts in life is to make yours better. Would you like to have your life made better? I want to bring them in. I want to let me just let them give you their names and tell a little bit about themselves. And then I'm going to see if I can get some empowerment to you from them so that your life could be made better. Introduce yourself, please.
Kelvin Moore. I'm the pastor of community services at Loveland Church, and I'm also West Valley Water District Board of Directors.
And
I'm Nita Alexander, and I'm the associate pastor at Loveland Church, and I'm over Loveland Jubilee Pantry and Distribution Center.
now we're going to start there if we can. Loveland Jubilee Pantry. Where did you get that name? How did that come to be?
Well, that came from a group of women years ago. They were doing it out of their trunks. And because the church is named Loveland, they just said Loveland. And they had a Jubilee. So Loveland Jubilee Pantry.
Well, you started on a journey there. Let's go back to that journey. How long has this been in existence?
Since the early 80s.
In the 80s, you were. Well, tell us a little bit about what you do when we say Loveland Pantry. What does that mean to the community, and what are you saying?
Okay, when we say Loveland Jubilee Pantry, what it is we have an outreach where people can come, they get in line, we fill up their trunks with food. And
Okay.
non-perishables. You may have anything from meat, vegetables, deli, all the way to dog food, diapers, detergent, shampoo, and conditioner.
So
Anything
pantry
that comes from the stores.
pantry. Those are things that you edibles, consumables is what you're saying. And in the pantry is where you can go get them and bring them into your life is what you're saying. This pantry.
Right. They could come once a month, and we do it on Fridays, except for the fifth Fridays. We're closed on the fifth Friday.
So now, Kelvin, you stated your title was what now?
Community services pastor.
Communities. So you're actually facilitating that community service by making sure that the community has some services, has some goods, some products. Is that what you're doing?
That's what I'm doing.
So you're not just holding the title, you're actually
No.
facilitating.
I work in concert with Nita in the Jubilee Pantry, and we also have a men's home called House of Hope over here in Rialto as well.
Wow. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh man, House of Hope is a men's home. It came about in 2019 is when we opened, and we help men reestablish their lives. They might be coming through a drug addiction or emotional problems, but we give them a fresh start. We have classes for them. We have a workforce development that works with them as well. And we just make sure that they're back and made whole to be re-entered back into society. We've had some success stories. We have one that just accomplished his HVAC and is now opening up his own business.
He works with us.
He works with the pantry, yes. And we also have two that were ordained ministers now. So it's a great, successful program, and it's wonderful, and it's self-funded.
So as I was saying, you two make people's lives better. I got to go to another driving question. Why did you open the pantry?
Because there was a need out there. There was a lot of people, single women, seniors, homeless people who didn't have food. So what they did is they started in the trunks of their cars. And then it grew to, we were on Ayala Street. We were on Ayala for maybe over 20, 25 years. And then in 2016, we moved to where we are presently, and we were going to move again, but the pandemic hit us.
Okay, we're going to talk about the pandemic in a few moments, but right now I want to know, when you say that people come, who can come to the pantry? I know you're located in Rialto, but who can come to the pantry? I mean, is it just,
Anyone,
are you
anyone with a need.
are you actually saying that anyone can come receive products from the pantry?
We have people who come all the way from Los Angeles. Some are coming from Riverside, Redlands, all in this area, in the Inland Empire and out of the Inland Empire.
Well, now that almost sounded, one of the things that I take out of my vocabulary is can't, and that's impossible, or I don't believe. I take those things out of my vocabulary, because when you say anyone can come and receive,
Anyone.
it almost seems, well, let's just say it's amazing. But let's go a little bit further here, okay? How do you feel when you're servicing the community?
When we service the community, if you just see the reactions on the people's faces, and then if you do what God tells you to do, then you'll see that you're doing a good job. Case in point, I had one lady, and I know that my mom liked neck bones. And so we had some neck bones, and I just wanted to give to somebody that I know who would like neck bones. So I saw this older lady, and I said, "Ma'am, would you like some neck bones?" And she started crying. And I said, "I didn't mean any disrespect. I just thought you'd like some neck bones," because I was thinking of my mother. So she's about my mother's age. And she said, "Baby," she said, "I just prayed this morning for some neck bones." And sometimes we're an answer to God's prayer. And other times we just pray with the people that have a need. And we've had several people who've been healed of cancer. They come back and said their cancer was in remission. And that was because we took the time out just to pray with them.
Oh, so you also do an application of prayer while you're there, if someone so
If they
desires and needs
ask.
it. Yes. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think if I can interject really quickly, I think the food and the sustenance is really good, but we offer hope and a smile. And I think if you can inspire hope, it gets that person to the next day. I mean, there are seniors who will tell you that they have to make choices between food and their meds.
Mhm.
So it's life or death, right?
Right.
Yes.
So we have an opportunity to fill that gap and give them the food that they need and the sustenance they need so they can get the medicine that they need. There's a lot of people in need here that are seniors, and that's a whole different show, but there's no subsidy for them. And so they're broke after paying their rent. And but if we could help in any way, that's what we do. And I believe we serve a couple senior areas.
Right. We
Oh,
have
I want to go
6.
into that too, but in fact, I want to lead into that by saying this. You said you started out of a car, or the pantry started out of a car. Can you describe it now? I mean, are you still in the car, or where are you?
No, we have a small pantry. I call it small. Other people call it a little bit bigger, but we're looking for a warehouse because we've outgrown it. And so what we do is we have many other vendors that give us food, including Target is one of our biggest ones, grocery outlet. We have Walmart and Food for Less, and we also have the food bank, and we have Feeding America.
So when I say describe it a little bit, I'm actually saying you're not working out of a trunk anymore. You're in a building, you're in a location, and the people can come to a location. That's what we're
Right.
saying.
We're
Mhm.
at 790 East Foothill in Suite B. And what they do is, because of the pandemic, they get in line and they stay in their vehicles. They get in line, and we actually, once they fill up our parking lot, we have another parking lot on the outside on Eucalyptus and Foothill, where we put them in line, so they're in line. And then they come through the line, and we have different stages. So we have men who will give them a bag of groceries, which would come from the USDA. That's coming from the food bank. Then we give them a box of veggies and deli. Then we also give them a box of non-perishables. They may get mouthwash, toothpaste, some of anything that's non-perishable, candy. anything that's non-perishables. And then we have an area where they get the sweets. We also have Krispy Kremes, so we give them Krispy Kremes. And I mean, everybody's excited over the food that they get, bread and just pastries and different foods and things.
Well, I've kind of heard a little bit of everything. So basically, what you're saying is you're augmenting the economy for someone's house.
Oh
You're
yeah.
actually making life a lot better, and these are gifts. They're,
Yes,
well,
it's
okay,
sweet.
so now again, I'm still wanting the public to see what it is that you're saying or what it is that you're doing. You started in the trunk, you're in the building now, and you have people that are placing food into the trunks and into the vehicles so that they can drive away with them, so their house could be impacted and made better. But how large is your operation? Are you got two people working, or uh, how many people are doing this?
We have volunteers. All of our
Okay.
people are volunteers. And on like we come in on Wednesdays, and that's when we started off. I do have about 4 or 5 people who come in on Mondays. We come in on Mondays and pick up the food from the different vendors. Then on Wednesdays, that's when we get everything prepared. On Fridays, we're still preparing, but we are starting around 10 o'clock. We do dispense the food. And we
So
can
how do you
serve
become a
anywhere.
how does someone become a volunteer? I mean, if this is a great organization, this is a great operation, and how does someone get attached to you so that they can make your operation expand, grow?
Come down to the pantry and help. They could come down at on Wednesdays if they get there at 8 o'clock, between 8 and 9 o'clock, and see me. We'll love to have them.
Now I have two big questions. I want to. The pandemic came in. Did it affect your operation? Because I know the pandemic came in while you were functioning. What specifically did it do for you? Did it make you a little smarter, a little bit more sharper? How did you get around the pandemic?
Well, we lost a lot of workers. We lost a lot of our senior workers, and most of our volunteers are seniors. We'd like to get other people to come in and help. So we're looking for grant money so that we can pay them, because people need, younger people need salaries. And so what that did for us, the pandemic did for us, instead of them coming and getting in line and getting their food from the inside of the building, now they have to stay in their vehicles, and it's like a drive-by. And it's so much easier and so much faster for us.
I have two questions that I want to ask you, and one of them is, when the pandemic came in, that was a challenge. What sustains you? What makes you go? What gives you your drive to keep going when you're up against something that's trying to block you or prevent you? What what gives you your drive?
And the devil comes in, we know that we're doing a good job. And so we just keep on going. And we
Okay.
know that we're affecting lives. And these are people, if we stop, we're affecting a lot of people, because what we do is not just for one group of people, but because we're now a distribution center, we give food away to other ministries as well as Unified City Schools in Rialto here.
Now you said you serve satellites. When you serve satellite, what are we seeing?
Our satellites are our senior citizen complexes, and we have 6 of them here in Rialto and 1 in Fontana.
So you're actually providing services to the senior citizen complexes also.
Right. We take them food once a month. We take them the food once a month. We deliver it to them.
Now, I want to say it like this. Whenever I see somebody, and I'm speaking to the both of you, when I see someone who's doing something to make someone's life better, usually there's somebody in the background that was your mentor. Did you have a mentor? Was there somebody in the background that inspired you to do what you're doing?
I got to say my mother did, because my mother used to do it. And we also used to do it. My mother was Joan Johnson, and she owned the Colashana restaurant. We also used to give away food at the Colashana restaurant. And then she would go to other food distribution places and help them pass out food, and I would help her.
Okay, and Kelvin?
Oh, my mom and dad. My mom and dad were, dad was a minister, mom was a missionary. And we always took people in. Back then you took care of your own, and or the church would take care of you if you had an addiction of things. And they would bring people in and take care of them. There was this battered spouse. She was coming to our house. Anybody hungry? at church, they would be at our house.
Well, oh, go
So
ahead.
that's kind of how we were raised.
I believe everyone can see your hearts as you open your conversation. They can see where you're coming from and what you're all about. I believe everyone that comes through the pantry will feel comfortable as they come through, knowing that they can receive something, but the people that they meet are going to be genuine. I think that's going to be the case. I wanted everyone to know that there is something in their community where you can actually receive from people who care about you or people who are looking after your welfare, and they have gifts that are real, not just verbal gifts, real gifts. Your houses, people's houses are going to be increased. This is a wonderful time right now because the challenge is really there. There's a crunch in everybody's finances. And so what you're doing is taking the crunch out. And I just want to say thank you, both of you, for coming into our studio and letting the community know that there's a pantry and give us the name of the operation.
House of Hope.
The House of Hope.
And Loveland Jubilee Pantry and Distribution Center.
Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to say this. If someone were to come through, they're going to be able to receive a better life because they met you.
Yes.
I want to thank everyone for coming on this journey, and I feel that you've been empowered. I sincerely hope that you can feel the empowerment. Again, I want to thank you for coming to Empowering Voices, and I want you to have a wonderful day and intentional empowered life.